Hi everyone. I see that we have a bunch of people joining the session. So I'll give it a minute so that we can get started so that you guys can settle in, grab your coffee. Alrighty, getting started, guys. Today we're going to be doing a deeper dive into our YMS. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to show you guys some very exciting things that are coming up. So I'll be hosting the session, and then we have managing the chat, Tyler Rubottom as well. He's going to be helping us. So if you guys have any questions, if you guys have comments, ideas, all of that, please throw in the chat, and we'll be addressing as we go, but we also have a Q&A at the end of the session. Just to keep a few reminders, guys, this is being recorded, so you guys will receive and have access to the recording afterwards. Use the chat for questions, for comments, for insights. Those are super valuable to us, so you guys can share whatever it is that pops up to your heads as we go through the presentation. Additional help and resources. So after this session, we'll share some helpful resources and things for you guys to keep in mind in case you need to reach out for something. Now, what I'm going to be highlighting and starting this webinar is really going to be additional details to the YMS, things that we're working on right now, new improvements. We've recently done a couple months ago, we had the first webinar on the YMS that really covered the functionality as a whole, visibility of the yard, kind of like the overall capabilities of the YMS, how it connects to appointments and what you can do with it. So Tyler is sharing on the chat that session that you guys can watch back. On this one, we're going to focus a little bit more on additional details, on more detailed flows, so that you guys can see kind of how we've expanded and the progress that we've made from that first webinar until now. And really what I want to highlight is the work that we've done throughout the year around the YMS and the exciting stuff that's coming up very soon. That being said, guys, this is a little summary of, I think, the highlights that I have to share for like all the improvements that we've made with all the customers and with everyone that I'm talking to about the YMS. I'm making a point to really let you guys know that Opendock team is focusing a lot on the YMS and building a really, strong solution for yard and gate visibility. And that means that a lot of our focus and energy has been put into the YMS this year, and these are some of the things that we've been able to add to it and build into it. So this is all listed. I'm not going to go through in detail to every single new improvement that we've made because it's a bunch of things and they're little things, bigger things, but we made improvements to the searching assets, displaying assets on the gate and yard view. We added a list view for the YMS, ability to edit things using the list view. We worked on spot location from inside the appointment details to have visibility of where's the assets tied to this appointment. We've built a really interesting integration with SmartGate that used to be, or that is our camera solution for the gate, and that's all now fully integrated with our gate management and YMS solution. So any assets coming in through the gate can be picked up by the cameras, and the camera information is added to the asset and the appointment information. So you have visibility of entrance point, exit point, automations around that. So that is really, really interesting. We also done a webinar recently about SmartGate if you guys want to check it out. Really, really interesting, the integration that we've done, and helps a lot, especially for facilities that are looking to implement more security layers around, the entrance and exit points. Audit log for assets, expanded driver checking languages. So we had, previously 3 languages being covered. Now we have over 6 languages being covered on the driver's health checking for them to pick out from. We worked on user permissions and made it a little bit more robust, expanded capabilities. Now, attendants, for example, can have access to the list view and other things. We worked on an export list view. We redesigned the hover over for occupied spots, so now you see a lot more information when you're hovering over the assets in the yard. We made improvements on how to manually add assets, abilities to edit and change information from the driver check-in, from the assets themselves, because we got a lot of feedback from you guys that some of the things needed editing, needed, a little bit more refinement, and we made a point to work on all those things. I'm going to be showing you guys some of these things, but then you guys can kind of like go into even deeper into all the things that we're bringing into the yard platform. Now, a YMS is really like the work that we've done this year is really, kind of segmented into 3 buckets here. The first bucket is the core of the core of yard management features. So the yard view, the spot assignment, the list view, which is really your yard inventory, the live yard view, so that you can see everything that's happening live, and then working through all the different visit types for live, for drop, pickups, and so on and so forth. So we've done a lot of work around that to be able to build a system that encompasses all of these concepts. Second step, we worked a lot on gate and asset management. So gate feed integration is really the integration with SmartGate and the cameras, asset identification and ownership enhancements. I want to show you guys some of the cool things that we are adding recently just to make sure that it translates really well. Who owns this asset and what do I need to do with it? Spot reservation API. So for yard tasks, we're working a lot on improving the whole concept of reserves and creation of tasks. So I'm going to show you guys also the progress that we made on yard tasks. So that's going to be really cool. The third bucket is, of the work that we've done is really customer feedback. For everyone that's using the YMS, we try to be as close as possible to you guys and gather as much feedback as possible and implement the easy and quick wins that you guys really needed to, ramp up in usage, and also, take into account the bigger, more robust features that you guys would need for the YMS to truly be, valuable to you guys. And some of these improvements and some of these, feedbacks we're already able to implement. Some of them are still work in progress, and some of them are being planned for right after yard tasks is concluded. So a lot of what you guys are going to be seeing in the YMS and coming up is really, really from customer feedback, from you guys is kind of like telling us what are the important things to see here. And the last bucket really is yard tasks and the foundational work that we've done so far to get that accomplished. A lot of it can already be seen on our playground environment, and I'm going to walk you guys through that so that you guys can see the progress that we've made so far with yard tasks. And then I'm going to share as well the timeline, the updated timeline for yard tasks and how the deliverables are going to go by, or are going to reach you guys. Perfect. Getting into the timeline before I jump into the live demo. So we're focusing a lot on move tasks, working on the task manager and the driver app for moves. That's going to be the first thing that we release by end of month, this month. Then we're going to be focusing on the check tasks, your yard inventory checks, for example, your, maintenance of dock doors and things like that you want to assign tasks to, and they're more open-ended than the moves themselves. So that's going to be the second deliverable. Then in December, we're going to be adding audit log and driver performance KPIs related to tasks. How are my yard drivers performing? How long are they taking to complete a move? How long are they taking to complete an inventory check? All of those things are going to be turned into dashboards, Power BI dashboards that you guys will have access to, and then we'll be able to pull reports on. January through March is going to really be focused on refinement and, again, gathering you guys' input and feedback and iterating until we have like a really solid solution that everyone is really happy with. Now, I want to jump into, before the next slides, I want to jump into my playground environment and really show you guys some of these things. So right away, when we go into, and this is my staging environment, some of it is already in production, some of it is not, but going out in the next couple weeks for you guys to have access to. Jumping into my list view, you guys will see that there are more options here now added of information that you can pull from the asset and see on the table. One of them is an example is the asset drop-off carrier and the asset pickup carrier. This information was before not available on the list view, and now it's going to be. So for each asset that you're seeing in the yard, you're able to see who was the carrier that dropped it off, who was the asset or the carrier that is going to pick it up if they have an appointment or on the schedule or future appointment on the schedule. Say for example that you had a container dropped off by carrier ABC, and then you have an appointment for Friday for another pickup, so it has to be loaded by then and ready for pickup, and then you have the pickup carrier from that appointment as well. Asset owner is another thing that we're introducing based on you guys' feedback. So the ability to have a drop asset container in the yard and be able to tie an owner to it that can be visible as I hover over the asset, as I open the details of the asset. So you guys will be able to segment the assets in the yard based on the owner that you guys define to this asset. Right now, the owner is tied to carrier companies, but very soon it will be tied as well to a new entity that we're going to be building, which is a vendor. And then you'll be able to list all your vendors and then tie vendors to your containers or assets in the yard as well. Other information that you guys can see are same as usual, if it's a planned arrival or not. Secondary appointment, this is new as well based on feedback we've received. There are a lot of cases where, same driver, same carrier comes in and they have, a drop-off appointment and a pickup appointment in the same day, for example. And so in order for us to be able to tie everything together and for you guys to be able to build reports that are really accurate, we're going to allow for a check-in to actually be done to 2 different appointments on the schedule. So a driver can check into 2 appointments, or you guys can tie the same arrival or the same asset visit to 2 different appointments. So it can be, one inbound and one outbound appointment, for example, at the same day, and you can have, both of them tied to the same driver or the same check-in. This is all that I had to show you guys on the list view itself. Other things that we've added as improvements, and let me go into the grid view to show this, is now you guys have the ability to, change information or all the information on the asset details. So you can change the asset ID, the container type, or the asset type example. And let me do this real quick. So we have here, for example, a live load that checked in as a live load. If for whatever reason the driver checked in, but it's not actually a live load, you're just able to switch this and switch the type of asset that it actually is and the type of visit that it actually is. So we're moving towards everything can be editable and everything can be changed if for whatever reason the information is not correct. So this is another thing that I wanted to show you guys. Another thing that we added very recently as well is that, and let me find a container that has been checked in. Well, there you go. So details. So now that, there you go. So this is all the information that lives on a container. Before or a couple weeks ago, every time that you dropped and departed the driver to a specific asset, the asset wouldn't hold the information on the check-in. Now we're keeping on the asset all the information on the check-in as well, so that's never lost. So you always know, for example, for all the assets that are dropped in New York, was the carrier who dropped it, and all the check-in information as well. So all of this continues to be tied to the asset, even though the driver has already been departed. I think this is all that I had to show you guys in terms of smaller things that have been recently added. Hope that you guys can play around with this and let us know how things are working, and hoping that all the information that we're adding to the list view is going to be really valuable to you guys to be able to have visibility into everything that you guys need. Now I want to jump to something else that's really fun. It's not done, still a work in progress, but you guys saw the timeline. We're hoping to deliver the yard moves by end of October. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit of the, management side of the tasks and how to create tasks. So this is the panel that's going to be available, or the tab that's going to be available to you guys as soon as the first release is done. And it really gives you the ability to create moves and yard tasks in general. If I go and create a task, for example, this is kind of the structure that we have for creating a move. So for a move, you're going to pretty much determine which asset is going to be moved. So for example, I have a drop trailer empty on my spot E1. It gives me the location that it is, and then I have to pick the location that I want it to go to, and it can be, for example, my loaded area. There you go, open spot. So I define an asset, it gives me where it is, and then the destination. I can add a general description here, adding more color or more details to exactly what I want on this task. Assignment and priority, you guys will be able to add your yard drivers as users to this, and the yard drivers can be assigned to specific tasks. This part is optional, as well as other pieces of the move itself. Example, I don't care exactly about which specific asset is being moved as long as they're being moved from this area to this other area, or as long as the asset that belongs to carrier ABC is being moved. I don't care which one exactly is being moved. No worries, that will be possible as well. So you guys will be able to say, I need an asset being moved from this specific area or from this specific owner. And so you can create a task based on the asset itself, the area where it's located, the spot where it's located, and then determine to where it should be moved. And then what the ad driver is really going to see is a summary of this task, all the information that you guys put into it. They're going to move it to in progress, and then they're going to move it to completed. We're tracking how long in progress is taking so that you can later pull reports and take a look into your performance for your drivers as well. So I have myself as a yard driver right here. I'm assigning it to myself. You can define ETAs. For example, want this done before end of day today. Flagging as urgent will create this little flag to the task itself so that you know that these are the most urgent tasks that need to be tended to. Attachments, you guys will have the ability to, add pictures or documents, anything that you guys want in terms of attachments to the task itself if they help, complete the task. Done. Once a task is created, it automatically goes to my to-do list. And then as the yard drivers grab the tasks and move them along, they're going to be moved into in progress, completed, canceled for anything that they couldn't complete. They can also signal the tasks as with issues, and then add comments in terms of like what was the issue that they found and why is it that they couldn't complete the task specifically. So this is the management side of the tasks, and this is how you guys would be able to create the moves. Now, on the other end, we have the check tasks. These are the more open-ended, as I mentioned. So, for example, it can be to a specific asset. Please verify, CO number for this specific asset because the information is missing. So you can create a specific task, select the asset itself that's missing the information, add the details. When you're adding description, you can add subtasks as well. So you can determine what are the little actions that they need to get done in order for this task to be considered completed. So if you have, for example, yard inventory checks and you want to make sure that they're checking all the information that you need, chassis condition, for example, please, take a picture of the seal number, everything that you guys want to add as, subtasks to the main task of the inventory check, you can do that. And then you can create tasks by areas as well. So if you need an inventory check for, your drop trailers, you can select the drop trailer area. If you need a specific spot to have a test related to a specific spot, say dock door 13, for example, needs maintenance. So you can create a task specifically for that. And then for the assets themselves. This is the workflow of the check task, and I have an example right here. So this is for an asset. This is the asset. I wanted an inspection done. I added the description, a couple of subtasks, assignment, and then I didn't do any attachments, but you can do that attachments as well for this checklist. So hopefully this is going to unlock a lot of capabilities for the YMS, and it's going to really solve the, you know, management of drop trailers in the yard and provide you all the visibility that you guys need. Very soon we're going to be able to show you guys the driver app itself and what the experience for the drivers is going to look like. We're making a lot of progress on that, but I really wanted to show you guys the progress that we've made so far in the creation of the tests as well. I think that's it in terms of the improvements and things that I wanted to show you guys live on my playground environment. Now, going back to the presentation itself, I want to show you guys a couple of things too that I think are going to be very exciting. So going back in here is really the ability to create, this is what's being displayed right here, the asset owner to the dropped assets in the yard. So you're going to have a new field when creating an asset. It's going to be asset owner. So it's a first class field. You're going to be able to pull reports on this as well. And you can select from an existing company. And then when you see the information on the asset, it's going to be right here, asset owner. So when you hover over and on the list view, that's going to be displayed as well. So you have the drop-off asset, you have the pickup asset, or the drop-off carrier, the pickup carrier, and you can attribute an owner to the asset itself. You can always edit that information as well and change it. And another one too that's coming up soon is you guys have been telling us that, hey, we need more visual aids to be able to see and know what's going on in the yard. So we're playing around with the few ideas, and this is what we're leaning towards. So we're making a differentiator between what's a trailer like this and what's a container, and then full, partially loaded, and empty. Anything in gray, as usual, is everything that's not tied to appointments. In blue is tied to appointments and on time. And then in red is tied to appointments and late according to the appointment time. But then these are the different kind of like visual aids that we're going to be introducing soon as well, so that you guys will have it more clearly defined what's a trailer and a container in the yard from like these two, and full, partially loaded, and empty as well. That is it, guys. I haven't been doing a good job at checking the comments, so I'm just going to take a look at that and see if there's anything interesting for us to address here in the session.
Yeah, there's a few
Okay.
different questions. The first one being, do you have a TV mode for yard management? I know it's coming soon, but if you want to add anything to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we've already started to discuss what TV mode for Yard is going to look like. And so as soon as we have a first visual that I can share with you guys and that you guys can provide feedback, I'm going to be doing that. But yes, we're definitely going to have a Yard or a TV mode for the Yard view. It's not something that we have yet, but if I go over to, let me just go back into, you will see that we have here 3 different options. Grid view, list view, these are the 2 that we have, and then the TV mode, definitely a priority for us very soon.
Okay. Another question is, are the driver chat and new message notifications getting moved to the yard tasks, or excuse me, or is that separate?
Okay, so the driver 2A, like the 2AS, is that what you mean? 2A SMS with
That's
drivers
my
on the check-in?
assumption. I think so.
Yes, so we're moving that to very soon doing that, moving that to a global sort of like view. Uh, Both warehouse selection, messages, and arrivals are going to be shown and displayed across all the different pages within the YMS. So even if you go to your task, for example, you're going to be able to see up on top messages and SMS messages from drivers and all of the arrivals as well. I don't know if this is exactly what you're looking for. I mean, I don't know who, do we know who asked that?
Jonathan?
Oh, John, I'll reach out to you and then we can discuss this a little bit more, because I don't know if this is exactly what you were looking for in Mint, but I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback and seeing if it matches with what we've been planning for.
Perfect. And then Chris asked if you set a task to move to dock door, will the door show busy so we don't move a live driver to the door?
Yes. Yes. So wait, this is a little bit unplanned. So let me fetch an image of what that's gonna look like real quick, guys.
And then I see
Click
Mohammed
on
has their hand raised. I don't know that they can come off of mute though. So Mohammed, if you could type your question in the chat, that'd be great.
Guys, can you see Tyler? Let me know. Can they see my Slack and the
Yes.
screenshot that I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is what's going to look like when I have a move created to a specific spot. So if I have a doctor, for example, that there's a move created for that doctor, a container that needs to be moved into that doctor or spot, this is what it looks like. So it shows reserved and it shows like this. And then when you click on it, you'll be able to see what is this reserved for. You see the notes, and then you have the link directly to the task associated with that move so that you can see all of the details, who's assigned to it and all the information. Initially, this is what it's going to look like. So every time that I create a move or every time that I drag and drop an asset into a specific, doctor or spot, it's going to create this reserve. It's going to add all this information to it. And then we can expand on that and add more information in here as you guys start using it. But initially, this is what it's going to look like.
Great. And then can I bulk select a group of trailers to be moved to a specific dock?
Okay, this is great. We thought about this. It's not going to be on the first release, but it's definitely something that can be done a little further down. So this is really great feedback and validation that my idea around this would be useful. But the initial use case that you guys are going to have, or the initial capabilities, really moving or drag and dropping one by one into the different spots.
Great. And then is there a visual indicator on an asset or spot that has a task assigned or linked to it when in the yard view?
Yes, so the initial indication is what you guys see right here. So there's a little lock in this asset, and that means that there's a task associated to it, and the task has not been completed yet, meaning this asset is locked to the reserve that's been created. Now, guys, this is the initial kind of visual that we thought about this one. We're 1000% open to feedback, and if this works or not for you guys, much like the asset visualization that you guys told us we need more. If you guys need more in terms of like how to visualize if there's a task and a reserve created, please feel free to provide feedback. But this is initially what's going to look like. So this container has a task, and then this is the reserved spot for it. What else do we have in
There's
here?
one more at the end from Chris. If we set tasks for several trailers to the same door, can we prioritize them to do it at one time?
Not in the first release, Chris, but this is something that we're looking to add. The way that we created the yard tasks is to allow for later on to create a schedule for tasks. Say, for example, that you have multiple trailers that you want to get loaded in a specific dock door, then you want to create and schedule, or like you said, prioritize the tasks that you want to accomplish, first, second, and then kind of like in a line or in a schedule. So it's not going to be out in first release, but it's definitely something that we prepared the solution for. So we want to add that very soon.
All right.
Is that it, guys?
I think that's it. Yep.
Okay. As usual, we are super open to feedback and to hearing from you guys, your opinion, your thoughts, your needs. So feel free to reach out to me directly or to your account manager so that we can have more conversations about YMS and how YMS can help your operation. Thank you so much, guys, for being here and in this session with me. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.